Street Champs, come get put on. Today I'm in here with a very, very special guest. Been trying to get this guy on for years. Matt
Let's
Smith,
go.
how you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. Thanks for having me on this today.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for what you do for Pueblo. I love the positivity and what you're doing out there, man. Keep going.
I try, man. You're a positive guy. We'll get into your positivity here soon, but you are a hard man to track down and get a thing going with.
My apologies. I don't even know what happened the last time around, but something fell off, and I saw you this week or last week. I think you hit me up. Yeah, I'm in. Let's go. So I don't know what happened last time, but
Hell yeah.
I'm excited to be on here. You're doing some cool things.
Thank you. Oh, she's crazy. Okay, before we get into everything, how was your day? What were you up to today?
Just building a business, baby. It's a good day. Every day's a great day. We just got snoozes all over the country. We're building, one franchise at a time. We got a lot of things with the snooze brand. We're going into a lot of some big players out there right now, so we're having a good time. We're enjoying the ride. Little Pueblo, we got a little mattress store that's going all over the country. We got 50 plus locations, and I think we're changing the game of sleep right now. So today was a lot of meetings to do that, and some new territory talks.
All right, so Snooze is a mattress store. That's how you would describe it?
Nope, Snooze is a sleep store.
Snooze is a sleep
But we sell
store.
mattresses.
Okay.
But ultimately, our goal with Snooze is to redefine the sleep experience. Like, really, I've been in the game 25 years. I know more about mattresses than I want to know. But truly, the problem with the industry has been everybody's chasing to the bottom, and it's the second-rated thing behind used car sales that people don't want to do. So because when you go in there, there's pushy sales people that are trying to chase you to the bottom, and they're racing 200 off this, 500 off this, let me get you a deal, And I think that sleep is the most underrated thing in America and probably in the world, and what it can do for your body, from healing your own body to the smell in the room, the darkness of the room. If you're a dad, if you're an athlete, if you're a doctor, I don't care what you are. If you're not sleeping, it affects everything you do that next day. So our mission is to really, it's to make 20 million people sleep better because the brand Snooze and all the amazing people that surround ourselves, but ultimately to just change the conversation of sleep versus a mattress. By the way, we do sell mattresses, and we have the best prices in the world, and we have the best stuff in the world, but let's talk about your why and what's your problems. And if you need an adjustable base, or if you need some diffusers in your room or a sound machine in your room, let's talk about all that. Or maybe you need a sleep doctor. I'm going to refer you to that too. But it really is the first sleep shop in America, and we're proud of what we're doing right now.
That's interesting. When did Snooze get started?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3.5 years ago.
How old are you?
43.
43.
What do you
Okay.
think about that?
All right. Before we get into all this current stuff, I want to know, like, way back when. Where are you from?
Pueblo, Colorado. Born and raised, baby.
Oh, really?
Proud of this town. Yeah. Born and raising 3 beautiful children. Married my soulmate here. She's born and raised here too. So we're roots from here.
Wow. Did you go to college here?
I did.
Wow.
I went to CSU Pueblo. I didn't make it through college. I dropped out 4 different times, and finally found out that college wasn't for me. But I did go to school there. I went to East High School.
What kind of kid was Matt Smith?
Oh, Matt Smith was he was a kid that always knew right from wrong, but he sometimes hung out with the wrong people. In my book, if you ever read my book called Serial Dadpreneur, the first chapter is about me getting stabbed on the east side of Pueblo.
Oh, really?
It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Can you walk us through that story?
Yeah, for sure. Ultimately, truly, we were New Year's Eve, 98, 99. And we were just at a party on the east side where Safeway used to be. It's not there anymore. A friend's house. And just a fight broke out. And in the middle of all that fight, I ended up getting stabbed in the back. 2 inches away from my spine. Would have been paralyzed from the waist down if it would have hit my spine. Wow. Spent 2 days in the hospital. And the best thing that ever happened to me, and I think that this is like a lesson out there if anybody's listening, like you got to capture those moments. But my grandma, I'll never forget this moment. My grandma was very close to it at the time, and she walks up to the door of the hospital and she shakes her head at me, and then she walks away, like just in like total disrespect, discomfort. And I was like, okay, I need to change some of this. And from that day again, I never got in a fight for the rest of my life. I started selling mattresses not too much after that, and the rest is history. Became an entrepreneur, but raised by a single mom here in town. But when my mom was the most amazing woman on the planet, what she didn't have for money, she made up for in love, and she was an amazing soul. But sometimes I just was with some of the wrong people.
So you started the fight, or you broke it up?
No, I tried to break it up.
But
then I got pulled into it.
Okay.
So I was trying to be the peacemaker, but it didn't happen. Then, you're with your friends.
Kind of like group mentality takes over.
Yes.
Us versus them.
Yeah, and it ended up being like, one of my best friends was trying to defend me as I was defending somebody else, and then there was, 30 of them and like 8 of us. It ended up being a big
wow.
sprout, and it was something like you see in the movies. I could remember like slow motion. Like, there was crowds standing on the deck watching it. There's 8 of us. There's 30 of them with baseball bats and stuff, and it was like, boom, just that quick. And then somebody said, "Your back is bleeding," and there's blood all over the back.
That guy that stabbed you, did he go to jail?
He did.
Wow. That night?
I think they caught him that night. Yeah, he went through trials and stuff. He spent many years, because I wasn't the only person who got stabbed. There's 4 of us that got stabbed.
Oh, wow. Oh, so he was stabbing
Same guy.
everybody.
Just walking around stabbing people.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he spent some time in jail.
Yeah, this guy deserves to be in jail.
Yeah, he
Holy
spent
shit.
some years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, yeah.
So you were, how old were you when that happened?
18.
18. Okay. You just graduated from East High School, you said?
Yep.
Coming into your 20s and stuff. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I do.
What are they?
One
how old are
brother, 2 years older than me, lives in LA.
Okay. Were you guys close growing up?
Oh yeah. Well, growing up maybe not. We're close now.
Hmm.
He's one of my heroes. One of the most amazing humans you'll ever meet. But he lives in LA, into movies and producing and directing and stuff out there. But yeah, you're still brothers, so you probably fight a lot as kids.
Yeah, I definitely have a brother that I am always getting into arguments with.
Yeah.
At what age did you guys kind of rekindle your relationship?
I think when he got his driver's license.
Oh, really? So he was like 16.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to ride.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, brother, where are we going? What are we doing? And then he became the cool brother,
Mm-hmm.
because he had a car and I didn't. So I think somewhere around 16, you were like, all right, like I want to be best friends with him just so I can get in a car. My brother's got a car. I want to go wherever you're going. I don't care. And so I think at that point we started to earn some respect. And then, from then on, it was, he's an amazing man and been through a lot. So yeah.
Wow. Respect. Shout out all the brothers out there.
Hey man, how old's your brother? Older or younger?
He's older. He's 3 years older than me. So he's 29.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. He's a hard worker. I'm the opposite. Put me down on a couch and I'll talk for 2 hours.
That's a skill though.
That's a life I'd rather live. Okay, so back on the timeline of things, at what age do you meet your wife? I don't know if I want to say her name or if you want to say her name.
Jenny, oh no,
Jenny,
she's my
okay.
soulmate. 30 years old. I met her at I rented out back in the day. Spradley was in Pueblo West, and I rented out the building for my 30th birthday party. So I had this giant bash, and it was when there was no car lot there, and I think there's a college there now, but in between the Spradley building. Rented it out through a giant party. She came out to the party. She had an ugly sweater party. And then, the rest is history. We met, and I knew she was the one the minute I laid eyes on her. And, my goal in life was to be a dad. And, but I wanted to find the right person. And at 30 years old, I met her.
Wow. Walk me through seeing your wife for the first time. You said you knew it right when you saw her. What was that like? Everyone just parted like the Red Sea? Yeah,
it was like slow motion. My feet started to pick up, and I started to float towards my wife, and she floated towards me. And it was like this amazing moment. But, yeah, no, I mean, I think when you know. And I was still like, I'd been single for so long that it still took me 2 years to propose to her, which, I think for her, it was forever. For me, I was like, that's not that long. But everywhere we went on a lot of trips together, vacation, she was always like, he's going to do it here. He's going to do it here. And then I wouldn't do it. She's like, you didn't propose to me again. And I'm like, I didn't have any intentions of it. So there was a little bit of that 2 years of like different trips that we went on. But, after you do it, you're like, I should have done that 2 years ago. She was the one, But so, yeah, I met her at 30. I got 3 beautiful children, but I probably would have 15 kids if I would have met her in my 20s because it's the best part of life.
Oh, wow. I personally, I can't relate. You're
young.
Yeah, exactly. You're a little bit older than me. So
I wasn't ready at your age either.
Perfect. Because I'm not ready right now.
Yeah, I was not ready at your
Thank
age,
God.
but it takes the right time and the right person. And when you know, and when that person hits, you'll be ready. But I wasn't ready a week before. But when I saw her, okay, I'm ready.
Wow. Yeah, the way you're saying it is to make a person believe in true love. Because I don't know if dating currently in this modern scene is tough. You got too many apps. Everyone's pretty self-centered.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's it's like a cheat code because you can kind of see them a little bit before you see them. But I'm sure there's also like there's probably some fakeness to some of these apps and stuff nowadays. I wouldn't know, but I could imagine it's like, well, it's a little bit easier if you're introverted, you stay at home. Well, now you can meet somebody on an app, which is cool, but you're probably not really meeting that person on the app. They probably fake it up a lot. I'm sure.
Totally. I'm one of those people.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So back on the whole life trip. Okay. So you meet your wife at 30.
Yep.
What's happening in your life between 20 and 30? You have some odd jobs. Do you have
So I started at a company called Denver Mattress Company at 19 years old. So I got into the mattress game at 19. Had, my first commission check. I made, raised by a single mom, like I said, so I didn't know what money was.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had my first commission check, I thought I was the richest kid on the planet. And I'm like, oh my God. So
How much?
but I also knew it was probably a couple grand, $2-3 grand. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mom never made probably over 30 grand in her life, 25 grand in her life as a nurse, raising 2 kids, so we didn't have anything. But long story short, I also knew really short on that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I started investing in houses at 20. I bought my first house. 21, I bought a couple houses. 22, I bought some houses. And then about 25, the market crashed. And that was 2006, and the market was just crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought a franchise, and I bought into Snap Fitness, which is in Pueblo West, and, grew that business. But and that trained me, I think, like a lesson that I learned, that if there's anybody out there thinking about entrepreneurship, I truly believe it's a muscle, and you got to just start making mistakes and start losing and start figuring out how to grow. And that was what it was to me. It was like I opened my first business. I made a lot of mistakes, but I was still selling mattresses by day. Mm-hmm. So I sold mattresses for 18 years. And while I sold those mattresses at Denver Mattress and ran that store, I had 7 other businesses. Oh, wow. At the time, from Mr. Penguin here in Pueblo. We revived that, to Pueblo's Best Carpet Cleaning, to Snap Fitness, to Pure Spawn Wellness. We had a home health cleaning. Like, we just did a lot of stuff. I had a party bus at one point, Epic Party Bus. So we just always was trying to do the side hustle. And then truly at 18 years of being with Denver Mattress, which was an amazing company, I told my wife, I'm like, when my son's old enough, which he was 2 years old, I'll leave the weekends, even though I had a great life. I love my job. And
get that.
You got a cat. Cat wants to be on the show here.
Oh my God.
So anyway, yeah. So at 18 years after that, my wife, I told her I'd retire, and I retired, and then started running all my businesses full time. Mm-hmm. And then, grew Snap Fitness. We were in the process of growing Snap Fitness, and it was a leap, but it was also the greatest thing I ever did. It's the first time I ever bet on myself 100%. And then Snooze was born about a year later.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it was easier to start businesses back then than it is now?
Nope.
No?
I think it's easier now. We have a cheat code here. Google. We have analytics. We have AI. We have so many ways to outdo. And I think that people are getting lazier and lazier. So the hardest working person could win way easier now. Because people don't work as hard. Not judging. I'm just saying I've always been in the mentality of I'm usually the dumbest guy in the room, but I'll outwork anybody. Mm-hmm. And I know that. Like, I don't care what it is, and all the businesses I've literally had 10 businesses in this town, and they're all still here. Not one of them has ever failed, because it's the mentality of figuring it out and outwork everybody around you. You know what I mean? And you'll win. And it is. So I think nowadays, I think there's a lot of cheat codes. I think there's a work ethic that's, if you outwork people around you, you're going to win every time. And there's so many. AI that's new to all of us right now. Somebody's going to watch this in 5 years and be like, oh, AI, cute. Like, that just came out, but it's new. Like, for what it's doing right now, it's crazy what it's able to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm really just now trying to figure out how to use it in our business file, but it is revolutionizing marketing. And a lot of the stuff you do and that we did a Wake Up and still do a little bit, like, it's crazy what you needed a human for. In 3 minutes, it'll pump out, that you might've taken 8 hours before to do. So it's just a different era, but that is a cheat code. Use it to our advantage. Google, finding gaps and running fast the sky's the limit. Just outwork everybody around you. I can tell you success story after success story, people that I've met and people that have come to America, and that, Undercover Billionaire even. That's the American dream is still alive. Anybody can outwork anybody. Give
me the blueprint. I do agree with you. Anyone can outwork anybody, but give me the blueprint in your eyes of what is looking like the hardest worker in the room? What does your day look like? Or, back then to now?
Ultimately it's going to depend on what your business is, but first and foremost, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur, find something you love, because you're going to probably be at work more than you're going to be at home. Hopefully not, but there's a good chance of it. If you look at the scale of life, find something you love that you're passionate about, and then redefine what you're doing. Make yourself obsolete or somebody else will. I think in America, the blessing that we have is that you can live the American dream and you can fight the fight and be whatever you want, but you also, you can be taken out within a matter of minutes if somebody else comes in that's a shinier penny than you. You know what I mean? So you always have to be, we came out as one of the first at Snooze with pajamas and technology to map your body to find out what you need that's trusted by the Mayo Clinic, and these higher warranties and these exclusive mattresses. But the next guy already copied us, and there's another guy. So we're always evolving to make ourselves better than anybody else out there. But, you know, I always say don't try to always dwell on your competitors, because that'll kill you.
Mhm.
Do you, but do you differently than anybody else. Focus on doing something that nobody else has done and be different. If you just want to go head to head with somebody else, that's not business, you know, but be different, be better. Think outside the box.
Mhm.
But so working standpoint, it's, to answer that question, I guess, is find your gaps, find your holes, plug them, and run as fast as you possibly can, and have big, audacious ass goals. Go big.
Mhm. What time do you wake up in the morning?
You know, on a normal schedule, probably 5-ish. You know, there's been some nights that I'm hanging out with my kids pretty late at night, so I don't wake up at 5. But on the school nights, my alarm hits 5-ish. I was out for a dark run this morning. I had a light on my chest, and I went running because it was so dark at 5:30. I think I was on the road.
Oh, wow.
Me and my dog.
Wow.
And I take an ice bath every day.
Right after the run?
Yep.
Wow.
Jump in some ice and shower and take the day on.
So that is your shower. The ice bath is like your shower, I guess?
No, I got to get warmed up after that.
Oh, so you take...
I took a warm shower
I
after
muted
that.
this.
No, you're good.
There we go. Oh, so you take a warm shower after the ice bath.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and I truly, it's something I've learned at my older age. And, you know, again, if there's entrepreneurs or people have a stressful life, if you just got a lot going on, I believe that you keep your phone on whatever sleep mode or whatever that is for that first hour of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get up and start checking emails or something stressful is going to happen. You're like going to firefighter. Like, you don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, get up and take care of you. And I listen to a book, an Audible, and I just get the road. I start running, or I get something, get ice, and I start breathing, doing different techniques to just get my day that I'm in control of, not this first email is in control of my day. You know what I mean? And then that separates your fresh start every morning. And then you get positivity in your head. You get, you know, whatever you're working on. If we're talking about being the hardest worker, like, hey, if I'm trying to build a business in Omaha, like we're doing right now, then I'm going to be listening to books about that, or I'm going to be researching about Omaha, or I'm going to be listening to whatever I could do differently out there. So there's just whatever you're trying to do, there is a cheat code like we talked about that we didn't have back in the day. Like when I would open a mattress store 25 years ago, we would throw a dart in a community and just fight the fight and hope it worked. Nowadays, there's so much data and AI to say, don't go here, go right here, and you'll be successful. You know, so use that stuff to your advantage, you know? So anyway, put the positivity in your brain, whatever you're working on. Journal. I mean, there's so many different techniques, but I believe mornings are precious to get your day started right.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I know a lot of people these days struggle with being positive. Whether it is, you know, the firefighter mode, they get these huge bombs dropped on them daily. You know, life's really hard. How long have you had this positive outlook on life?
I think my whole life. I mean, I've been blessed, and I've had a lot of challenges like everybody. We all got shit, you know, we all got challenges. That's part of life. But I believe I wrote a chapter in my book called Positivity is a Muscle. And I believe it is. I believe being a parent is a muscle. I believe positivity. I believe entrepreneurship. Nobody's just born with it, but you work on it. And I think at this point, my brain is so optimistic and positive. I don't care what gets dropped on me. You know, I'm ready to go. Like, it's just a part of a normal day. Like, you'll never see me like, oh, the sky is falling. Oh my God. It just doesn't happen. Like, I know we got this. I've been through it. We're going to get through this. Let's keep running. You know what I mean? So I think it's a muscle that I've built over a long period of time. And just like the entrepreneur side, I mean, I think if you would have asked me 15 years ago, the things now that are really small in my life were really big back then. But after you've been through it so many times, you know, and even when I met Grant, you know what I mean? I think when people are like, you just open a business with a guy. And I'm like, yeah, but I'd opened 10 businesses before. So I'd already built that muscle. It wasn't terrifying to go, oh my God, I'm going to open a business. What happens if I fail? And what if I can't pay rent? What if I do here? What if employees don't work? You know what I mean? It becomes that side of like, I got this. I bet on myself, I win. I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to figure out how to win. And I might lose for a while, and that's okay. You either win or you learn. And I learn a lot. I learn every day. And now we're in this big goal of, you know, changing the industry and opening stores all over the country. It's a totally different muscle for me now. I'm learning a new muscle. This is a different mentality than building an empire in a Pueblo, Colorado. Now we're all over the country. It's a whole different game.
Yeah, definitely. Just hearing you talk about your mindset, I feel like people that live in your mindset, I try to stay there too. People that live in your mindset, they don't realize, or we don't realize that it's rare for people to want to live life like this. You know, most people are happy, you know, going through the motions, living day to day, working, you know, at Walmart and going home to see their 2 kids and their dog, and just doing that for 50 years.
Right. And it's sad because that's what society built for us. I mean, that's what society told us was what we were supposed to do. go work this day to this day, buy a house, have kids, have a picket fence and some dogs in the back, and that's success. And I think it's disgusting that our society that's okay, you know, because life is too short, and protecting your family and enjoying life and smiling and going on vacations and doing shit that scares you, like just doing things that you're not supposed to do, getting into stretching your rubber band, being uncomfortable is to me the biggest part of life that so many people miss out on because they're scared. What if I fail? What if something doesn't happen? But what if you never tried? That's 10 times worse than failing, you know? Like get out there and get it and smile the whole time, because failing with a smile on your face is way better than doing nothing, you know? And you know, you'll learn, but it's part of it. Just get back up.
Respect. I like that. When's the last time you cried?
Probably not too. That's a great question, but I'm a crier. I like just probably a movie.
Oh, really?
I watch movies and I cry.
Oh, wow.
Like they just like I am. I'm that guy. I was raised by a woman. Like, so I have an old Mach 1 on the side of my house, and I remember driving around and everybody's like, hey, what's the engine in this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not like a car guy. I was raised by a woman. Like, I don't know. I cry in movies, and like, I don't hunt. I don't know how to do that stuff. So I'm just not that guy. So when it comes to crying, like I'm a proud crier. It doesn't bother me, man. My kids see me cry all the time during movies. So I don't like, you know, and I've lost important people in my life. That's probably some real tears, but probably the last couple of weeks I've cried of movies.
Encanto.
Just being honest.
Yeah. I appreciate the honesty. Okay, so getting back on track here. You were 20 to 30. At what point do you have your first child?
33.
33. Okay, that's the year Jesus died. Is it not?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it is. I think that's
probably.
that's
the
the year
right
he
there
performed his first miracle as well.
I performed my first miracle then.
Exactly. The miracle of life.
I love it.
Okay.
Parker was born.
So Parker's your son?
Yep. Parker Paisley Preston. 3 P's.
I like that.
I appreciate it.
All right. So, having your first child, where are you in life at that point? You have already 8 to 10 businesses, you were saying, or?
Yeah. So I had 7 different businesses, and then I was at Denver Mattress. Okay. Yeah, so I was working retail hours. I mean, I did 12-hour days for a long period of time. But I also built businesses while I was there. So, but yeah, I was, we just got married, and that was the first thing we were going to do is start having kids. And I was too old to think about it. I just needed to have kids. I knew I wanted kids, and I was in my 30s, so it was game time.
Mm-hmm. What about what's a young father, Matt Smith, like, struggling to juggle these things in your life? Is it any memorable moments that stick out to you? Yeah,
I mean, I think becoming a parent is tough, I mean, especially when we had 2 in a year. So they were 13 months apart. So that next year was a lot. You got 2 kids in diapers, a lot going on, stressed, but I also think it's like, it's the biggest blessing. If you could ever look at, like, I always tell our team sometimes when we think about all the stress internally, and I don't care who you are, every company's got their own problems. It's a part of growth. And if you don't, you're not growing. But if you sit back sometimes and go, wow, look at this. This is such a blessing. We are building a company around the world. And I think the same as a dad, when I look back and I go, look at this. I created this. Like, this is our thing. Like, we've created a human. And that's just such a cool experience. So yeah, was there stress? Absolutely. Was there juggling? Yeah, but I think I was built for that moment. I think that was what I lived my life to, that moment, to have a kid. I wanted kids my whole life. I wanted to find her, and I wanted to have kids together. So it was one of my life's purposes. So put me in, coach. I don't care if I sleep an hour a night. I'm here, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to be the best dad I can and be present. So yeah, I mean, I think there's always challenges, but I think that to me, I'm an old dad. I wouldn't change it for the world. Because, having a kid at 19, there's a lot of people that do that. And that's why people think I'm a grandpa, because I got a 4-year-old.
No, my dad was like 40-something when he had me.
Yeah.
He's old.
But there's a maturity about you at that age. There's a financial maturity about you. There's a difference, I think, of parenting in your 30s than parenting in your early 20s or teens. So I think that was actually my plan. I enjoyed my 20s. I had a lot of fun. But it was time. I wanted to have kids. But I also needed to meet the right person.
Definitely. Just to have that like kind of bird's eye view of how you want your life trajectory to go. That's another rare thing. Most people are just take what the day gives them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and that's a great. I mean, I love that point because I think that that's anybody out there. Like either you control life or life controls you. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like, there's not one person that's got a perfect life. And I've been blessed, like being in the grant community. I've been around a lot of like millionaires and billionaires out there. They ain't happy because they got money. That doesn't make happiness. You know, happiness is you finding your why and living into that moment. You know what I mean? And I think that you got to set goals and you got to attack those goals, you know, and it's a daily thing for me every day. What's the 3 priorities I got to get done today? You know, and how do you take on this life that are just going to move the needle a little bit farther? What's going to do the next thing over there? You know, you got to prioritize life. But if you're out there, set yourself goals. What do you want to be when you grow up? Even if you're old like me, what do you want to do next? Like, what are you trying to do to redefine? So, you know, KFC was created by a 63-year-old, I think.
something like that. I have heard that story.
And there's a lot of other stories like that. Grant Cardone, you know, who's, you know, become a mentor, and I've watched a lot of what he's done. I mean, it was his 60s before he's really become Grant Cardone, you know, and it took him 10 years of what you're doing right here. Like he told me the story of, he's like, in the last 12 months, and that was, I guess, a couple of years ago, I've had more viewership on all of my channels than the last 12 years combined, because it took me this time to get to this moment to now, okay, the name is here, but I've killed myself and done, I think he told me at one point it was like 12,000 free shows like this that he did. Wow. Like podcasts and getting on stages and building that muscle. Like that's real. That's no overnight success, but that's what everybody sees. Oh, he's a great talker. He's overnight success. Like, you put in the work. He outworked his competitors.
Definitely. At what age did you meet Grant Cardone? Let's get into all that.
40.
40.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it was to COVID, so 40-ish, 39, 40.
What's the build up to you know, being on Discovery Channel, and you know, how did they reach out, or did you reach out, or it was just kind of random?
Yeah, they didn't reach out. It wasn't even Discovery Channel. It was a place called American Pride. So
but it's on Discovery Channel.
Yeah, so
okay.
it was Discovery Channel. I'm sorry, but it was they came in with an alias.
Oh.
So a company called American Pride was here in Pueblo, and they were doing a documentary on Pueblo, is what they had told me, about, you know, the 1921 flood and how, you know, this town had been beaten up and it deserved a better reputation. And I was like, I'm your Huckleberry. I'll tell you how special this town is. This is a special town, and I'll take you through the whole thing, you know. And then this random guy named Lewis Curtis. And I mean, I'll tell you, like, the show, they did such a good job that all the camera crew had fake Instagrams, fake Facebooks, fake YouTubes. Like, they had created fake names for all of these people. Oh, wow. So we couldn't pull it all up. So they did a really good job. But I also knew, like, it was obviously something was going on. They had 10 cameras in front of me, and they weren't like little cameras. These were like giant cameras and drones and waivers everywhere we went. So yeah, that's how it went down. I mean, essentially I didn't know, but they brought the Lewis Curtis guy in after I met through them, and came into my gym. You know, Grant was kind of, I guess, just shopping the town to see who to partner with. And, you know, several people, because I was a serial entrepreneur in this town, had pushed in my direction, and the rest is history.
I want to unpack that history.
Let's do it.
So he comes into Snap Fitness. He's disguised. Were you familiar with Grant Cardone before this whole thing?
I was not. And, you know, I think people tell me that all the time, like, you had to have known. But the reality is, like, Grant Cardone wasn't as big as he is now either.
Yeah, no, he was not.
He was not. This was prior to COVID. Like, he was still up and coming too. Like, he was nowhere near what he is now. So no, I mean, I did not know. I knew something special was going on. There's, I mean, cameras everywhere, but I did not know who Grant was.
Wow.
But he got called out a couple times
by people just going like on their day-to-day lives. They're like, "Oh, is that Grant Cardone?"
Yeah, I mean, one of our pitches, if you know Vern Larson, you know, a huge mortgage guy in this town, one of my great friends, just a great human. Like, we were literally pitching him to sell a marketing, and Vern was like, "Has anybody ever told you look like Grant Cardone?" And he told Grant that, and Grant was like, "Shit, I wish I had that guy's money. I wish I had it. I wouldn't be in this town, Pueblo, Colorado, if I had that guy's money." And Vernon was like, cool. And I was the same way. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it's funny because after it all came out, Vernon was like, Grant Cardone was in my office, and I had no idea that was him, because he's a mortgage guy. So he had been in that industry. So he knew of Grant because of mortgages and real estate, and that was a real estate play. Mm-hmm. But instantly, Vern was like, okay, he told me he wasn't, so I just believed he wasn't. Like, he was that good at it. So it was that. It was that. So I mean, but again, yeah, I don't think he was as big as he is now, but yeah, he's come a long way.
Wow, that's got to be, to see yourself on TV. You know, what do they say? Hindsight is 20/20. Just to see yourself. Do you feel like you did a good job on TV? Do you wish you would have changed up your demeanor a little bit?
I got no regrets, man. I don't have regrets in life. Like it was a blessing to be part of it. What I was terrified before they launched it, I'll tell you, because I mean, I'll bet you they've got 2,000 hours of me and Grant, or maybe 1,000 hours of me and, maybe 1,000 hours with me and Grant. So you don't know what they're going to portray.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, was like, well, I know I'm a good human. I know I would not take advantage of people. It's just not who I am, but I still don't know how they're going to cut this and edit this. You know what I mean? Just, so when it all came out, I was like, all right, it's fine. Like, and my goal was to show off Pablo and, show how cool Pablo was and show some of the other things. But we were battling, COVID and trying to close some clients and trying to do some things. But I think that it's the biggest, it's a huge blessing. Like, no matter how it turned out, like I'm still, when I go to airports now, I take selfies. It's weird. They're like, Matt Smith, Undercover Billionaire, can I get a selfie? And I'm like, this is so weird. Like when I'm in different cities, especially in Florida, because, Grant's a big person down there. So they've all seen Undercover Billionaire. So, and we get at our Wake Up building, if, we probably get at least one a week. Probably I'll come take a selfie in front of that portrait.
Oh, wow.
Like people come through this town and they're like taking a selfie and I'll walk outside like, hey, and they're like, oh, I saw the show. This is great. Like, so it really has inspired a lot of people. I get Instagram messages and LinkedIn all the time about, hey, that inspired me and changed my life. I was living in my truck and now I'm a millionaire or whatever, because I saw hope and I saw, work. And I think that that's the cool part about the show, is that American Dream's alive and anybody can do it during even COVID, and I think like we started this interview. So anyway, yeah.
So you start up, okay. So you meet Grant Cardone. What is the first thing that what's the first idea that you guys have for a business?
The first thing he did was the mattresses and snooze or snap, at the time, because, I'll never forget. I'm sitting in the office with the guy. I'm like, all right, what does this guy want? What's he doing? Like, there's cameras around me. What's going on here? And I asked him, I'm like, this is the genius of Grant, is I was like, what do you want to make out of this? What are you trying to get paid here? And he was like, nothing. Let me just prove myself. And then I'll ask. And I was like, deal. So he did a big sale on mattresses and made some money and like brought some new traffic in. I was like, all right, he's a real deal. He's pushing himself. He's fighting. And I've always had the mentality as an entrepreneur, teach me how to make money or save money and I'll share. It's new money I didn't have anyway. So let's talk about it. If you could add to my bottom line, let's share some of that. Like, let's do this together. And that's what he did. So then it was, hey, I want to do business. I want to start a business in this town and I want to do this. And I'm like, all right. So we looked at Asahi Bowls. We looked at apartment complexes, and then a marketing company was kind of the three big things that we were looking at. And apartment complexes, we actually did look at the Konica here in Pueblo. That deal fell through because of Grant's aggressiveness. That's a great story. And then Wake Up was born. He, at the time I hadn't bought apartments, but I was excited. I was like, this seems awesome. Like, we can buy an apartment. Like, I bought a lot of real estate, but I'd never bought an apartment complex. And the people that owned Konica at the time had owned it for, my understanding, 30 plus years. So for a long, long period of time. And they were giving away their family legacy, so they didn't want to just sell it. And Grant pushed him, and then he like doubled down on pushing him. Like, hey, make this deal in 2 days. You got 2 days to get my LOI. And Grant didn't even have the money. That's the beautiful thing about the story, is like, he didn't have his own name and there's contacts. He was this Lewis Curtis guy. But he was going to figure out how to get the money, and the show would have been over at that point. If he would have got the Konica and Wake Up would have never been born, nothing ever happened. We would have gotten that, and he would have made his $1 million valuation and been done. Anyway, the story goes, and even Grant's story, it's in his books, 10X Mentor. He says, like, he's used to being Grant Cardone and the persona of him, so he could be kind of a bully, or maybe not a bully, but he could be aggressive, take this deal or walk. Like, he could, and that's kind of what he did with the Konica, with the mom and pop's place, without his really who he is. He was a little guy nobody knew, and they curled up and took a different offer, and it was actually a less offer.
Oh, wow.
It was less price, but they liked the other people more because they didn't want to sell their legacy to this aggressive guy.
Wow.
So it was a lesson learned by Grant. He tells the story all the time that he was just like, I was trying to be myself in somebody else's skin, and didn't work. So anyway.
Wow. But there's such thing as divine timing. It wasn't meant.
Right.
That wasn't meant to happen. Wake Up Pueblo was meant to be born.
Amen.
So you guys fall through with the apartments. Where does the name Wake Up Pueblo come from?
Mia. Do you know Mia?
Oh, I love Mia.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mia. She's amazing. Mia was part of my marketing. So I had hired her for Snooze and for Snap Fitness. And she was doing a lot of our marketing and branding and our national stuff. So she came up with it originally as the slogan for Snooze. Snooze, wake up and take on the day. Wake up and do this, wake up and all that. And then when this marketing thing came around, we just decided to turn into Wake Up. Wake Up Marketing, and Wake Up Pueblo was born. It was going to be Wake Up Marketing, I think, or Wake Up something else. And Wake Up Pueblo domain was available. So I was like, all right, Wake Up Pueblo. We'll figure it out later. And it was the best and worst name in this town, because some people are like, we don't need to be woken up. What are you trying to say? But other people are like, all right, I get it. You know what I mean? I like, everybody needs to be woken up. But it was also when me and Grant did a lot of pitches, farmers and a bunch of different people, everybody was like, oh, we don't need to advertise, we're word of mouth, and we just handshake, and we just, and it was, this town needed to be woken up a little bit too. Like, we were always like, it's not a bad thing. All towns need that. But our town was somewhat old school, that we're like, let's wake it up a little bit. You're running for mayor for a reason. Let's wake it up a little bit.
No, definitely. I think we're so historic, the historic everything around Pueblo. One day we're going to be historic city, and that's not what we want.
And that's, to your point. And that's what, to me, it was like, wake up the businesses, wake up life, wake up everything. It had a great ring to it, So that was kind of the history of it. And Wake Up Pueblo, just because it was a domain, and it was a Pueblo marketing company. So hindsight, maybe it could have been Wake Up Marketing. But Grant had all kinds of weird names. He wanted like guerrilla marketing, and he had all kinds of weird stuff. So Wake Up just kind of worked out.
So, okay. So the timeline of Wake Up, what is the first day the doors open?
When we sold the contract, we sold several contracts on the show. So we sold the contract, and it was game on. So after that, Mia and Meredith and Paige started figuring out how to do marketing. That was my background. Like, I was a selfie video guy at Snap Fitness going, hey, come into Snap. We got this, and this, and we got sales. And I didn't really know marketing. There was 3 amazing women that had graduated from CSU, or were graduating from CSU Pueblo. They were in college. And we started figuring it out. We started pitching it. We made money. Now we had to figure out how to deliver a product. And that's kind of how business works. Bring the money, get the product, find the people, and keep scaling.
Okay. So Mia, she said she dropped out of college.
Yes.
To pursue this.
It was not by my ask or anything. For the record, I want to say I tried to talk her out of it. I was like, Mia, you're so close, and she's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. She could have finished it like with her eyes closed. But it wasn't for her. It wasn't for me. So I don't blame her either. But it just wasn't.
Yeah. Shout out her new clothing line. I don't know what the name is, but hit up Mia for those.
Hit Mia.
Okay, so you start with these 3 women. At what is the rate you're scaled to? What is the peak employee number, and how fast does that get to that?
That's a good question. I would say, we scaled through the show. We probably had maybe Tyler Schown was there. There was probably 8 of us, 10 of us maybe at the beginning, and we were set up to scale. And I think at one point we probably got to 15, 20 people. Wow. And we had energy everywhere in the building, 905s every morning. Like, I loved it. But it was a lane that I understood as well as some people. I didn't grow up in marketing. You know what I mean? So there's so many avenues of marketing. You don't just learn. Like, you got to understand algorithms and what's working, and Google and there's a lot, Facebook, and things change like that. But I was surrounded by smart people, so it worked out really well. Like, when you have Mia in charge, you're winning, and then Eric Thompson, who is our president of Wake Up. He was from mattress business, lived in Silicon Valley, and moved out here to help us out too. So we were stacking a pretty hefty team to try to take Wake Up nationally and grow that business.
So you guys, 15 is the peak number. At what point? Because what is the current state of Wake Up right now? This October 26th.
We are very exclusive on a few clients, and we are a snooze marketing company.
Okay.
But we're picky and choosy who we're going with. I think I learned probably, maybe a year ago or months ago that I'm a mattress guy, and we're the best in the world at what we do. We need to focus on that. And it's a lesson in entrepreneurship. Sometimes you get spread too thin. And honestly, when I had 7 businesses, like I was telling about, I used to brag about that. I thought it was cool. It's not cool. It was impossible to be successful at 7 businesses at the same time, until they all are working and on overdrive. So you got, it was really about focusing on what matters most and what is our future. I got franchisees that have given me their life savings and saying, I'm all in on a mattress store. I need to focus on that. So we've scaled back to, the marketing, and marketing can be a tough business too. Like there's no, as you know, like it's not like you could just pull a trigger and there's ROI. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of over and over and over. So, long story short, yeah, we've got an exclusive marketing team that we've got, several clients that if we took somebody on now, it would have to impact our long-term future.
Okay, so the response from the community, it wasn't the most, the most loved idea, like you just said. Was there anyone that just came up to you in person and was just like, fuck, wake up? No, never.
Not that I know of, man. Yeah, you could say that it wasn't the most positive, but I could see the other side of that, but maybe that's just who I am. But it was very positive. Like was there 4 or 5 naysayers? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people on their computer flipping the little things, finding the negative in life, but aren't making a difference in the world and getting out there and fixing the world. And when you run for politics as you are now, you see those people more and more and more. But if they want to make a difference, do what you're doing. That's the hardest thing in the world. Go step up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bash what I'm doing until you're doing it yourself and you're better than me. You know what I mean? And I think that Wake Up to me was a beautiful thing. I mean, we were involved in chambers. We did so much work for the community, because when I started Wake Up, it was a mission. It was a mission to help public small businesses grow, but it was also to tell the story about how special our community is. And Tyler Shawn, if you know him, was one of the best in the world at that. Like, he's so Pueblo passionate, so was I. And I'm like, all right, let's tell this story. Let's go tell about how great this is. And let's put Pueblo on the map for what's great about Pueblo. That's not find negativity, but was there haters? Yeah, there's always haters. Mm-hmm. And just like the name, like, was there people offended by the name? Sure. But by the time I could talk to them, they're like, yeah, I guess I see your point. Wake Up needs to be woke up, or probably could be woken up a little bit. Yeah, just like anywhere. Mm-hmm. It wasn't offensive, and it wasn't made to be offensive, but people get offended because of the color of my socks. That's just the world we live in. They don't like orange. I got to be mean because I have orange socks. Like, there's got to be. Like, that's just the world we live in. So you got to just smile and keep going, man. Like, it's a part of life. So
definitely. From the outside looking in, so at what point does the mastermind, the Undercover Billionaire Bootcamp, come into fruition, or into like an idea?
The first we're on year 2 now.
I thought it was 3.
One.
I went 2 of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I think when the shows left and everything went on there, I went to a 10X event. And if you've never been to a 10X event, it's one of the most magical things you've ever seen in your life. It is the biggest event in the world. I mean, he puts on the show like nobody's ever done. And we just, we have a theater in our building, which is like, how do you use this? We brought it back to life. It was closed for 30 years when I bought that building. So we got the theater back to life, and we wanted to bring it back. And then we wanted to continue this. The first one was, bringing Ryan Zabukovic and all of the people that were on the show and let them tell their story a little bit, which was really, really cool. And now it's become, we've had some, the NBA coach was here. We've had some really amazing speakers, but it was another one of those things that was uncomfortable, but I also knew that I wanted to do more and more of these things for the community and bring some more people to see how cool our town is. So Eric is a big public speaking guy. He loves this kind of stuff. So he was probably one of the people behind it saying, hey, let's do this too. We have the audience. There's people out there that would come and show up, and then it helps build the brand, helps build the community, and
personally,
build our network.
I could have never fathomed affording those tickets. I got my 2 tickets. My first ticket was from Rocky Mountain Blaze. They got me the $1,000, the cheapest John, like the bare minimum, and I was so grateful for that one. And then the second year, 1-800 Porches. I forget. Oh my God, I'm an asshole. His business is 1-800 Porches in Chicago. I forget his name. Victor.
Oh,
Victor Gonzon.
He was on your podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He bought me the second year's ticket for, I believe it was like $600, something like that. But I think that in itself, the prices, and people saw it, the entrepreneurs here, and they're like, well, I don't have the financial backing to be the businessman I want to be. So they kind of get slighted, They're like, you're not going to allow me into your room just because I can't pay all this money. I think that was an issue.
And it's a great question. And I think that, I know we had tickets at $299, but the reality is, like, you need to get in the room to learn. And I can't build that room without having tickets to pay for the speakers. You know what I mean? So it's a small room, as you know. Yeah. To your point, Jacob, I know Jacob was on here. I just talked to Jacob today, Rivera. We're working on doing the next one at a bigger event where we can have $50 tickets, because you have more people there, so you can pay for an event like that. But like Grant Cardone spends $8 million on his events and loses money. And these events cost. I mean, we lose money on everyone we've ever put on. So even though you think that it's an expensive ticket, to me,
For a regular 26-year-old
yeah.
single person in Pueblo, yes.
But it's investing in yourself. I mean, I guarantee you, I give every single person in that audience over $1,000 in value. I guarantee you, if they took that $1,000 and put it into themselves, and they used the tools that were on that stage, they 100x that $1,000 if they used what they got there. And that's really what those events are for. It's not designed to, like this is, expensive and I'm going to go learn and get, no, there's tools that are developed, and hopefully you got some of that out of there, but it's expensive to put that stuff on, but there's a purpose behind it. And I think people need to invest in themselves. Yes. Is it, I mean, 10X events are thousands and thousands of dollars, but where else are you going to go see Tom Brady speak and some of these big players out there and understand how to grow your business and get in the rooms? Like you met Victor, you could meet people. And that's, to me, a lot of these events are more importantly than even getting, watching the stage. It's who you meeting on the dinners and the lunches and having a beer with at night. Like, how could you level them up and them level you up? Like, that really is what it is. And our purpose was we've never made a profit on that, for the record. We've never made money on an event. But we got to pay for speakers. We got to pay for their hotels. We got to pay for everybody to get here too. It's the events are put on to help people grow, and now we still have a Thursday marketing meeting we had today. That's still, I think Victor's actually on that. So anyway, we are working on bringing the prices down, and I did have people that said the same thing, and I respect that and I appreciate that, and I'm listening. And I think our next event will still have some huge players, and we'll probably be doing it with Jacob and the hall where we can get hundreds of people. So you divide that out, it's a lot cheaper to put it on. If you got hundreds of people paying $50, but in our theater we didn't have that room, so we had to figure out how to pay for all that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great answer. I was not like discouraged from that, but it just kind of piqued my interest. Like if there's something going on in Pueblo, I kind of want to know about it. And when you can't get in it, it's like you're in quote unquote my city, our city. It's kind of like a slap in the face to a lot of people.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that and I respect that, but I think that if you've learned anything in life as an entrepreneur, as a parent, as anything, like when you get shit for free, you don't respect it either. Like if I would have given, and I gave, I think 20 free tickets away, and you know how many people showed up? Probably 3. Wow. Do you know how many people that were out of those, like that stood outside on their cell phone the entire time? All of them. When you invest in yourself, you're going to take that and use that. Same thing with the gym. Somebody pays for a gym membership, they're more likely to use it. If you get a free membership, they're not going to show up. You know what I mean? So it's such as life, but you got to invest in yourself. And again, like we had cheaper tickets. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, but if people don't put the money out there, they're not going to get anything out of it.
Definitely. I respect
it takes that to bring the people here too. I get, when you put on a concert downtown, somebody's got to pay for that famous guy to get here to sing to us. And that's why the ticket costs the money that does to get that famous guy here, and at the end of the day, if they make a few bucks, great for them. But like J.R. Chavez and some of these people put on events. I mean, I see the work that they put into putting on an event. It's a lot. And even us, I mean, it was months of preparation and thousands of man hours to get all of this stuff prepared and ready. And we still lost money on the events. So it's not, we don't do this to make money. We do this to change the world, make people a little better.
Yeah, I respect that. With that explanation, I think it clears up everyone's answers or gripes or whatever. It's good.
Well, we're gonna have a more affordable next time. I can guarantee you that. We're gonna work on a bigger hall, that the microphones always work. That building's old, man. There's problems too that were frustrating, but it also has character. I love the character of having the oldest building in Pueblo there.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thank you for letting us have our first annual Halloween party there. That was
absolutely. Yeah, you guys had a bash there. Yeah, you had a lot of people there.
Man, too many problems there.
We're officially taking over the hall on December 31st. Okay. So the back hall, and then we have a side hall, and then we have the theater. So we're going to turn that whole place into a hub for just events. So if you need a small event, we'll have where the editing bay was in the back. That'll be an event hall. And then the back hall, we're going to re-gut it, paint it, make it, Pueblo style. And then the front and then the theater. So we're going to turn it into a lot more.
Classic hall. The back one with the bar in it. Yeah. I've been to countless weddings there. So, yeah. Iconic Pueblo.
It is. I think it's going to be wake up events. Wow. So there'll be 3 different halls that they can rent. And that back hall is beautiful already, but we're going to spice it up. We're going to fix a lot of things and make it a little spicy. On December 31st, we take over.
Heck yeah, it's interesting. I can't wait for that. Okay, so back on the whole timeline of things, Undercover Billionaire. All right, so when the show's wrapping up, do you feel kind of, when you're at this peak in your life, a lot of people when you're coming out of it, they just feel a little bit of depression, I was doing this great thing, and now, there's no more cameras following me. I'm just back to being me. You feel any of that?
No.
No.
I love my life. It is what it is. But no, it's and it's funny you say that, because Discovery Channel, I became very good friends with all these people, like very good friends. We still talk to, but you met Brian Spohr probably, and a couple of these guys. And they told me that. They were like, there's a depression that's going to happen when we leave. You're going to wait for these cameras, and they're not going to be around you, and you're going to be like, what's going on? I'm used to all of this fame and all this stuff. And I was like, no, this was a new adventure for me. I'm cool. So I didn't feel it. And I don't think my wife did either. Like, she loved the cameras. My wife is like, when she heard about, like, there's cameras everywhere, she's like, how do I'm going to get my hair done, and I'm going to come show up on set, and what are we doing at Snap Fitness today? Like, even though she never really goes there. But if she knew there was cameras, she was like, I want to go. What can I do? So, but anyway, no, I mean, I don't think there was any, like, it was definitely this is a special moment. How do we seize it? How do we capture this as much as possible? Not let this be that one guy that was on that one show that one time. That was the speech I gave to myself every day, is like, this is going to come and go. So how do we take advantage of this? And how do we move the needle of life through this somehow, some way? Not that I want to be on a lot of TV shows, but I want to be able to push this forward somehow.
Yeah. And with the depression thing, I think, listening to really any person of influence, or any person that's traveled a lot, it's just, comes with anxiety too. It's, am I as great, or am I as good as I was, when they were following me, or whatever.
I'm better.
I love that.
Way better.
I love that. What about advice? What advice do you have to someone looking up to you and just wants to be where you're at? What could you tell them?
Put in the work. I think any entrepreneur out there, I think the best advice is find what you love, though. Like, people have asked me, like, what's going to happen with Snooze? You going to, like, retire someday and give it to the kids? What are you doing? I'm like, this is what I love. I love the mattress industry. It's what I know. I've been doing it for 25 years. So find what you love and then be the best at it, and have big, audacious goals. Nobody's inspired by somebody saying, I want to open 2 stores in a community and we're going to do this, this, and this. Inspiration comes from, we're going to open 1,000 stores. And we're going to do this together, and we're going to change the world of sleep. Now, that brings the right people and the big people on there. And it can't just be a fake goal. It's got to be, we're going to do this. Roll up your sleeves. So, I think bigger. I think too many people think, and I was one of those guys that I'm like, man, if I could just own a business in Pueblo, then I did it. I could just open a couple, and then I did it. Then if I can just buy my own building for the first time, and oh my gosh, I could imagine owning a building around Snap Fitness, and then I did it. And then it was like, all right, I want to own something that came from Pueblo that's outside of Pueblo. And then I did it. And it was like, okay, what's next? And you got to keep those goals and stick with the goals, but make sure that you're growing. Like, what's next on there? So from an entrepreneur standpoint, be prepared for the sleepless nights and the toughness of it. Being an entrepreneur is the most painful, hardest thing you will ever do, but it is the most rewarding freedom that you will ever have and your children will ever have if you fight the fight. Too many people quit. Too many people quit too early on when you're just almost there and don't have quit in you. You know that this is the finish line and do whatever it takes to get there. So it's rewarding. I control my life. I control my schedule. I have a lot of fun at what I do, and I'm blessed to be surrounded by amazing people, but I get to pick those people too. That's the fun part. If they're not amazing people and they don't fit our culture, we don't need them. I want to be surrounded by fun, positive people, like you said. The 5 people that you surround yourself by is really a direct reflection of who you are. And if you got a bunch of negative Nancys around you, there's a good chance you're a negative Nancy. If you're surrounded by a bunch of positive people, you're gonna smile every day.
That's a great point. Is there anything else you want to tell the people before we get out of here? Anything on your mind?
No, man, I just appreciate what you're doing. I think Pueblo's a beautiful community. Keep spreading that word of how special our community is, and anybody, if I could ever help anybody out there, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been there, done that. I've learned a lot of lessons or failed a lot of times to get to where I'm at. And one of my purposes and missions in life is to help give back and help somebody else learn from my mistakes. And hence why we created a franchise, is like the mistakes are already taken out of the equation. We've already learned. Now you can open a franchise and do it on your own. So, but no, man. And I guess if I was to leave it to the older crowd, I think you have a lot of younger crowd, but a crowd of my style, the biggest lesson that I can give anybody is family first. Like, protect what matters most. I have been surrounded by entrepreneurs and billionaires and millionaires that forget what matters most, and they figure it out when it's too late, when they've lost their kids and their wives and their husbands or whatever it may be, and it's too late to take that back. Like, you've got to, I'll leave here. I'm going to go to Skate City with my kids because, and I'm 6 months behind my schedule right now. I'm never going to be caught up. I got so much on my office desk that I have to get caught up. But don't stay till midnight at the office. Go play with your kids. You know, go kiss your wife, you know, go enjoy life, you know, because life is too short to not enjoy the things that matters most. And if you saw Steve Jobs on his deathbed, that was his biggest regret. And money can't buy you back to life. But he didn't have what happiness really is. And, you know, there's a lot out there. So protect what matters most. Protect the family, you know, lean into your family. If you're married or kids, great. If you're not, still, family's important. Lean into it. Don't be stubborn. Protect that and run as fast as you can at life because it's a fun thing and we only get one chance at it.
Respect, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be here. This is awesome. I love your studio. I love everything about what you're doing, and I look forward to being on here again sometime.
We got to make that happen for sure.
Let's go. Good luck on the mayor, baby.
Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget, vote for me November 7th or right now, whatever you want to do. Street Champs, Matt Smith, Wake Up Pueblo, come get put on. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that. All right. Peace.
Let's go.
What's up, guys? We just hit 3,000 subs. We're trying to make it 4. Help us out. Hit the subscribe button. Peace.